first area I recommend checking is the area under the battery box tray. Pull that battery out and get that tray out of there. You've heard me harp on this before. Even if you have a reasonably good rust-free car, these water drains get plugged down in here and they can raise havoc with water that stays under the tray. So get the tray out and let's see how this 85 300 TD looks. Wow, look at that. This is probably one of the best ones I've seen in the last 10 years. Literally no severe rust and no rust through. But it's starting. See, if you neglect this, soon that will become a large hole and water will leak down into the passenger compartment and get under your carpets. So you take care of this. The best product to take care of this, of course, is Miracle Paint. I'm going to scrape this up, sand it, clean it, and just spot paint it with Miracle Paint right in that area. And I won't have to worry about that. Look at that. All the way back in under the drain area, it's clean. All around the front sway bar, look. This is a really nice W123. This is my tool of choice when going after these really small surface rust areas with this really rough pad on it. This is great for cleaning brake discs, but watch this do a number on this area right in here. Okay, notice I've cleaned the whole area where the rust is, and then I've gone out past it where I get right into bright metal. Now I can clean this off with some lacquer thinner, and then I'm going to coat that area with Miracle Paint. You want this area really clean before you apply the Miracle Paint. I know some of you are thinking, well, gee, I can just use Rust-Oleum or some other paint, but let me tell you, that's not going to last because you're looking at a very high moisture environment, and those types of paint will not seal that area from moisture penetration, which will further increase the rust. So what I'm going to do is apply 2 coats. The first coat is just going to be over the rust and right out to the edge. And I'm going to let this tack off for about a half hour, and then I'll come back in and apply that second coat. But you don't have to worry about this corroding anymore. Now, of course, you can top coat it with some ivory paint. On the car here, I call butter. Or you can just leave it like I'm going to leave it, because this will be hidden by the battery tray and the battery. So that's your repair for under the battery tray. Sometimes it's got holes in it. In that case, you're going to want to use Miracle Paint and fiberglass cloth. Now we're going to move on to the second area that you should be sure and inspect when acquiring a W123. The area under the battery tray is more prone to rust on the W123s than the other chassis. But number 2 here that I'm going to show you is common on almost all 35-plus-year-old Mercedes-Benzes, and that is the area under the bottoms of the doors. You have to open the door on these cars and look very carefully. Now you can see that this one is real clean. You'll see some cars that have rust holes and rust forming underneath this rubber seal. And if you see that, you're going to have to pull the seal and treat it with Miracle Paint. Here's a little bit of area that's just started to rust. It should be cleaned up and treated with Miracle Paint. But that's another good reason why you want to pull the door panels off when you get one of these cars, because you can get in there and clean the drains and coat the bottom of the door area with Miracle Paint, and that's going to prevent any kind of future rust, because this is where the water drains out of, and when those drains get plugged, you're going to get rust. So this 85 wagon is showing real clean underneath the doors with only a very slight amount of rust that might need to be treated right along this edge. But look at the rubber seal. If I roll the rubber seal down, I'm not picking up that heavy rust that you'll see on a lot of these old Mercedes. So this is real important. If you're going out to buy one or you've just acquired one, check this area very closely along the bottom of your doors. Now here's one that hasn't fared so well. It's pretty obvious, the rust here. A lot of times you'll have to get down on your hands and knees or even use your camera to shoot underneath the door. But this is an example of what you'll find if rust is not treated and left to grow on its own. You can see on the rear door, if you just open the door and don't bother to look closely, it might look okay. But let's roll the camera underneath now and see here. We've got some rust that's just starting up, and if not taken care of, it's going to end up looking like that front door.